Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to Drakiith. Thanks for your support. That said, let's get started. Welcome back to Pathfinder Kingmaker. Last time, we headed for the Gnarl Marches to investigate an impending troll invasion, and in doing so, we also stopped by Bald Hill to slaughter a group of dimension-hopping spiders and hopefully resolve an ancient curse. At the moment, though, we're currently investigating an abandoned camp that we just discovered near the river crossing southwest of Stag's Fall. Apparently, another Kobold tribe is up in arms, so let's see if we can find the reason behind it.
Something bothering you?
Of course, first we'll toss up some buffs.
Anything is possible.
Alright, that should be sufficient. Leaves us just enough buffs for a third encounter, too. Hey, you there! Quick, you've got to help me!
Can you make an epic pose? I need inspiration.
Ah, more kobolds. Nothing we can't handle.
This should do it.
Let's see if we can keep these guys alive. Okay, let's toss a healing spell on that guy. A little silly, but we are heroes.
Let yourself open. A calculated risk.
So fragile.
Lovely. Oh, looks like we're not done yet.
So, the gnome invites some of his friends. Stupid, slow, sluggish gnome. Gnome. Stupid.
There's a purple kobold on the riverbank who looks just like your old acquaintance, Tartuccio.
Kobolds want this cart. Kobolds shall have it.
The horse's skull hides most of the kobold's face, but you see his vicious eyes glinting through the empty sockets, staring at you.
By orders of myself, the glorious King Tartuk.
The kobold pounds his chest with his fist.
Tartuk, King.
The head of the gnome expedition wipes his brow and glares at the kobold. This bastard was the one talking our ears off while the rest of them were trying to steal our cart. King Tartuk. The gnome looks at you and winks. What do you say to a bit of regicide? Tartuccio, I recognize you. What is this new disguise, and why are you not dead?
How dare you speak like that to King? Kobolds attack. Shadars!
Okay, so he just buffed this batch of kobolds with some sort of spell. I'm not sure what, though. Let's take this one a little more cautiously. Ah, looks like it's either Expeditious Retreat or a full-blown haste. Either way, we'll have to make this quick. Carefully. Yeah, that looks good. Nice.
See you soon enough. This is not over.
My cart! It's sinking!
All according to plan.
Alright, I think it's fair to assume that this is just going to be a skill challenge, so let's hedge our bets here.
Right here, my friend.
Adventures call to them.
Don't let the current drag it under! While the gnomes were busy fighting the kobolds, furiously cursing and diligently punching their unwelcome guests right on their dragonish snouts, the cart was all but forgotten. The unwitting cause of the fight, it was being dragged away by the scared ponies when it slid down the ford, sinking all the way up to the coachman's seat in the river. This is where the Skunk River flows into the Tuskwater, and the current becomes excessively spiteful, cold, stubborn, and turbulent. Having taken hold of the gnome's cart, the Skunk River must have decided to drag it down amid all the commotion, but it was caught in the act. The surviving gnomes, led by the head of the gnome expedition, an extremely loud and crabby fellow, but not without some managerial talent, were able to catch the cart before it floated away. Faces red and grunting from the strain, they struggled to keep it from drowning entirely. Just then, a package fell into the river. With a heartbreaking splash, it vanished beneath the current, only to resurface 10 meters down the river. "No," the head of the gnome expedition moaned as he glowered at the package. "That was Alchemy and Life, the latest issue." After plunging into the cold river, the ponies immediately lost their nerve. Swiveling their ears and twitching, they tried to chew through the reins and throw off the load. "Why are you just standing around? Go on, help them!" The head of the gnome expedition was visibly dissatisfied as he shouted. We set the crowbar under the cart's wheel. Set under the wheel, the crowbar wedged into position against the stones on the riverbed, making the process of pulling the cart out of the river easier. We tied a rope to the cart. 1, 2, 3, and the rope was securely tied to the cart, making it easier to pull out. A good lesson for every adventurer. Never leave home without a rope. Rope is your best friend. One of us tried to jump onto the cart to untie the ponies still standing in the water. Alright, looks like Lindsay's our best bet for this. We'll just have to hope she gets lucky with nature lore. Lindsay nimbly climbed onto the roof of the cart and carefully crawled toward the ponies hitched up at the riverbank. The ponies seemed to be relieved to feel a firm hand holding the reins again. They calmed down at once and allowed themselves to be unhitched. In just a few moments, they were standing back at the ford, ready to pull the cart from the river. Gathering our strength, we began pulling the cart from the river. "If you're certain you're ready, then let's do it. But be careful. Imagine the cart's full of gold or ale or some other thing you couldn't bear to lose." Valerie frowned. "Better you should trust in our dignity than our greed, Sir Gnome." The gnome rolls his eyes. "For God's sake, whatever, just pull the cart." We tried to pull the cart out. The cart creaked and cracked, sounding as though it were sobbing. The board strained against the combined stress of the rushing water's pull against everyone trying to pull the cart ashore. Unfortunately for the cart, both sides were of equal strength. Something had to be done, or the poor cart would be torn to pieces. Okay, we've got several options here, but it looks like Silverleaf has to make the roll, so I think our best bet is to go with nature lore. The exhausted ponies had worked themselves up into a lather, and foam covered the bits in their teeth. The Baron tried to calm and reassure them. After everyone struggled together for a while, the cart finally made it out of the muddy riverbed and rolled back onto the rocky ground of the waiting ford, prompting some seemingly indignant sloshes and squelches as the river released its trophy and rushed along in search of easier prey. Losing no time, the head of the gnome expedition jumped inside. For a good while, rattling and swearing were all that could be heard from the cart, until the gnome's face finally reappeared from under the rooftop, seemingly satisfied. "Almost everything's still in place," he announced cheerfully, jumping from the cart. "It's all wet and crumpled, but at least nothing's missing. Thank you, travelers. If not for your help, guided by my keen supervision, of course, I'd have had to say goodbye to all my possessions." Nicely done, heroes. "Come here, my valiant savior. Let me have a word with you." The gnome that stands before you wears dirty and ragged clothes. They used to look stylish and wealthy long ago, but those times are long gone. His black hair is matted, a deep fresh scratch crosses his cheek. Despite his rather pathetic look, the gnome behaves with inner dignity and even manages to maintain a superior manner.
Jubilost Nartropple, at your grace's service. Your help with these kobolds and my almost drowned cart was timely indeed.
He introduces himself and looks closely at your party.
By the way, it's a shame no one organized a greeting party when such a famous and popular person as myself arrived to your capital. I wasn't expecting a red carpet covered with rose petals, but you could at least have sent ahead some delegation. Oh, at least some of my servants are still alive. Do you know how much it costs to train a proper servant?
Jubilost jabbers too fast, never stopping even to take a breath. You can see he's piled up some emotions and just needs to get them out of his system.
Also, while I'm on that, I'd like to make an official announcement. The roads in your barony are in terrible condition. People must search for wading fords to cross the rivers because no one had bothered themselves with building bridges, and honest travelers have to take the risk of being attacked by kobolds at any moment. So, how did you say your barony was called? Whatever, never mind. When I draw the map of these lands, I will call them Maybe Local Baron Will Help. I guess it's a fitting name.
The gnome falls silent at last. He just watches you with his shifty eyes, opening and closing his mouth, as if he wants to say something more, but hasn't come up with anything yet.
You think too highly of yourself, Sir Gnome. Behave with some dignity while you're on these lands.
Oh, I see. The very spirit of knighthood embodied. So, what do you propose me to do, Sir Knight? Should I lie?
Jubilost eyes Valerie up and down.
By no means. But you shall not be so blunt. I bid you to express your opinion in a more courteous form.
Valerie blushes, but still tries to argue.
Your problem, Sir Knight, is that you worry too much about form and appearance. Unsurprisingly so, considering your pretty face. As for me, I worry solely about the content.
Valerie blushes even more and turns away. It seems to you that the gnome has stepped on her toes. Poor Valerie. For someone who values content so highly, you seem pretty quick to make superficial judgments.
Oh, is that so? I would deem it necessary to inform you that...
Please, don't waste your words and time on this buffoon, especially because of me.
Valerie nods to you with a slight smile, indicating her appreciation for your aid. How do you know I am a baron?
I've already told you I've visited your capital some time ago. Weren't you listening to me? And I'm used to being greeted by officials when I arrive to settlements of at least some importance. The glory of myself and my exploits usually precedes me, and officials usually prefer to be on good terms with me.
Jubilost smiles slyly. I didn't know you'd come.
Yes, you're right. I should have remembered that your lands are in the middle of nowhere, and you don't get updates on important things in time.
Jubilost thinks this over, tilting his head. Looks like this thought never occurred to him. I don't like your manner of speaking, gnome.
So what? Well, I don't like a lot of things. You know what I do when I don't like something? I try to change it. For example, I don't like your barony's roads, so I've reported to the authorities about it, namely, you. And as for you, instead of pouting, you'd better get down to business and try to resolve the trouble.
Jubilost presses his fists against his hips.
I can see it's your first encounter with the freedom of speech. Just do what you consider right, and let others discuss it. You know, not everyone gets a chance to become a baron, so discussing a baron's actions is actually all the unlucky ones can do.
Seeing the spectrum of emotions changing on your face, the gnome softens up a bit. Actually, I don't mind the freedom of speech.
Wow, a baron supporting freedom of speech. Well, that's news. Remains to be seen what you'll say after reading my article.
So, what happened here? How did your cart end up in the river?
My party and I set up camp at the bank of this river. We'd just finished kindling the fire when that purple bastard appeared.
Jubilost scratches his chin.
You know what he told me? He introduced himself as the King of the Kobolds and told me he needed our clothes because he wanted to dress his subjects properly, you see, as long as they've established the kingdom of their own. That's literally what he said. I wonder, where did he learn the words? Obviously, I told him to buzz off. Some kobold wants to strut around wearing the clothes of the great cartographer Jubilost Nartropple. No way.
Jubilost's face gets red with resentment.
So I've been explaining my position to him, being rather eloquent too, suggesting he and his so-called kingdom might as well fall into the deepest sinkhole. But in the meantime, I've noticed that kobolds have already started to untie my cart. Well, I called my men to keep the cart safe. They couldn't guess what to do on their own, just stood there with their mouths ajar. Then things heated up as the fighting started, and while we were fighting, the ponies dragged the cart to the river. Stupid animals.
Well then, you said you were famous, but I don't know you. What are you famous for?
That was either a stupid and offensive joke or a case of total ignorance. The latter, I hope. I'm famous as a traveler, a cartographer, an alchemist, and a journalist. The students of all the major universities study the world using my maps. My articles for different journals are well known everywhere, from Andorran to Brevoy. You've definitely read some issues of National Alchemy, haven't you?
Jubilost pouches his lips.
Culinary Almanac of the Inner Sea? Or the most scandalous one, The Independence, describing benefits and drawbacks of governments and regimes in different states? Didn't read any of these. Oh, well, don't answer that. I don't want to spoil my impression of your barony. It's spoiled enough already. It would be hard for me to write at least something positive otherwise.
Wait, the Jubilost Nartropple? Author of the 14.5 eulogies to Pitax? Oh my! Every student in the Academy of Grand Arts devoured your books, especially after King Aravetti banned them, tried you in absentia, and sentenced you to death.
I see at least someone in this shabby barony has at least a rudimentary education, even if they got them in such a dubious establishment as the Pitax Academy of Grand Arts.
I was expelled for irreverence.
Ha! Is this so? Well, if it is true, then you just might not be beyond hope.
So, what is such a famous person doing this far from civilization?
I pursued two objectives. The first is to write an article on this new barony of yours for the Independence. The second is to draw a detailed map of the stolen lands. Before this barony appeared, it had been too dangerous to come here, but now an opportunity has appeared. Thanks to you, I must add. So, as you can see, the freedom of speech sometimes grants positive comments too. Anyway, I'm almost done with this journey. My article is practically ready, so is the map. All that's left to do now is to find an old dwarven outpost established here several centuries ago.
What is this dwarven outpost you're searching for?
Your ignorance is stunning. You create a barony and still you know nothing about the lands you own. I'll have to enlighten you on the subject.
Jubilost pouches his lips.
You see, long ago there was a dwarven trade route crossing these lands. It connected Five Kings Mountains and the north. The route was so important to the dwarves that they were generous enough to set a number of outposts along it, manned with armed guardians to provide protection for the traders. One of these outposts must be somewhere nearby, lost and completely forsaken, but nothing can avoid the watchful eye of the great cartographer Jubilost Nartruple. I will find this outpost, and I will mark its location on the map. You can trust me on that.
Jubilost thrusts out his chest. Tell me, is this old dwarven outpost abandoned? Is it possible it's now used by trolls as a lair, for instance?
Why not? Dwarves like being underground, trolls like being underground too. It's quite possible after dwarves left, their warm and cozy place fell into the hands of less attractive creatures.
Jubilost shrugs. I'm looking for the troll's lair. Maybe we're looking for the same place. Let's join our efforts and start looking together.
Well, you proved to be a capable companion in a case of emergency. I guess I can entrust you with covering my back. Let's go. I will send someone for my cart later.
Well, looks like we just picked up a new party member. Jubilost Narthrapple, gnomish alchemist. Obviously chaotic, based on his behavior. Now, we obviously don't need two alchemists, so we'll leave him behind for now. We will pick him up later, though, once we find that dwarven outpost. Hooray, we won! Ooh, we made it! The cart is unbroken, almost unharmed, and ready for new journeys. Ah, shoot. Forgot to turn off Lindsay's music. That's fine, we'll have to rest soon anyway. Nothing but vendor trash, but no surprise there. At least we kept all the guards alive.
In due time.
Oh, hi there. A pair of scared ponies stands before you. They don't run away, but they snort loudly and neigh as you approach. These are most likely the spare pair of ponies the gnome expedition used to pull their cart. When the kobolds attacked, they weren't tied to the cart, so they just pulled themselves free and fled into the forest. That's a nice little detail. Alright, I think we're pretty much done here, but let's see if Tartuccio left anything behind. I'm not sure exactly where he was standing, but let's see what areas we can actually get to here. Nothing, but let's pull the rest of the party over here, just in case. I think he was actually standing over here somewhere. Yeah, it's nothing. I guess we're done here.
That is not far.
It was worth a look, though. Moving on. Okay, that just leaves the bandit camp, the ruined watchtower, and the verdant chamber. Though I'm still not sure if we're actually ready to go to the verdant chamber just yet. Let's start with the bandit camp. That should be simple. Oh, or we could take care of this. Ah, trolls. Looks like they're laying siege to a merchant caravan. We'll have to move quick. One down. Looks like we've got a branded troll incoming, though. Wow.
I didn't even break a sweat.
Just in time, too. An elderly half-elf stands before you. His sun-bleached hair reveals him as a seasoned traveler, and the confidence with which he holds his bow reveals him to be a seasoned warrior. And his cart full of various items, it seems a trader as well. Damned trolls! Almost died from the stink alone. The half-elf wipes the sweat from his brow. They almost had me, since when are trolls not afraid of fire? Good thing I had a few flasks of acid among my goods. Thank you for your timely rescue, friends. Despite his confident gaze, his voice trembles slightly. A few moments more and I would have... He frowns. Whoever rules this land gives little care to its safety. Formerly safe trade roads are given over to trolls, and not a guard to be seen. But where are my manners? I am Dalton, from Mivan, a merchant by trade. Who are you? Awkward. I'm the Baron of these lands. Your words are fair. I'll do what I can to make the road safer. Dalton looks shocked. Oh, I beg your forgiveness, Your Grace. Dalton bows politely. But these trolls, they're a threat to everyone. They've attacked several villages, destroyed several bridges, and are scaring away trade caravans. Worse than bandits by far. If Your Grace is willing to resolve the matter, I know a mage living nearby. I visit him from time to sell him reagents for spells. He's an expert on trolls, might know why they've suddenly become bolder, and fireproof. Oh, that certainly sounds like Bartholomew. Tell me more about this mage. Dalton scratches his head. Bartholomew is his name. He's not bad for a human, always so polite, so respectful. But there is something odd about him. He lives alone in the middle of the woods, his house surrounded by traps, with a single safe road leading to it. No bandits nor trolls scare him. And the way he looks at you, it's like he's examining you, like he's considering to crack you open to see what's inside. The chills. Dalton shivers. Any other dangers on the road? Trolls aren't enough, huh? Dalton laughs, then frowns. Actually, I have heard a disturbing rumor. It's said a hodag has made its lair in a cave south of here. Whether true or not, traders are taking no chances, taking forest routes instead. Let me mark the cave on your map. We did actually hear about that in the letter we found on that dead merchant near Bartholomew's. Amiri grins. I've never fought a hodag. Yet. You liar. You're from Mivan, you say. What is their view on this new barony? Long ago, Mivan was founded by the Sword Lords, who refused to bow before the new ruler and fled Brevoy. Well, not Brevins anymore. Our people and the people here have a lot in common, as I've heard the barony here was founded by people from Restov. We look upon them as distant cousins, I suppose. Dalton smiles. Welcome cousins, that is, not family you'd rather forget. I can see you're an experienced trader. Would you consider operating exclusively in my barony? Dalton frowns. Don't get me wrong, Your Grace, but I've family in Brevoy, so my road always must take me there, no matter how dangerous the journey. The roads are unsafe. I would suggest you go no further than the capital, and wait until the roads can be garrisoned properly. There's still plenty of trade to be had elsewhere in the region. Dalton frowns. If things are that bad, well then, perhaps I shall conduct my business here, for a time. Very well. Good fortunes to you, and safe travels. Hold a moment. I didn't have a chance to reward you for your help. Fortunes are best shared, after all. Safe travels. Well, let's do a little looting, and then I guess we'll visit Bartholomew. Let me check that one. Okay, we've already got it. Nothing new there. Thanks for saving us. You're quite welcome. 1,000 revolutions. Sounds like it's referring to Galt. Okay, since this is a scripted encounter, let's walk the perimeter real quick, just to make sure we're not missing anything.
As it should be.
A fallen tree is barring the wagon's way.
In due time.
Well, guess that's it.
The end draws near.
Alright, moving on. Okay, we're right next to Bartholomew's house, so we might as well pay him a visit. We'll just save the bandit camp and the ruined tower for next time.
I tire.
That's fine. We'll rest inside.
May we have a moment of
Hungry.
respite?
When we stop.
All according to plan.
Hey Wayne, still living out in the forest? That's cool.
Enemy approaching.
Whoops. Well shoot, now we have to keep Wayne alive.
Training pays off.
Wow, never mind. He just punched that bandit to death. Slow spell. Annoying. Nice work, heroes. And you too, Wayne. Very impressive. Well, let's very slowly get some rest. There we go.
Sometimes I feel our arguments about religion are pointless.
Of course they are, Tristian, of course. Everything is vanity and fuss. Our conversations are nothing more than the rustling of leaves. And yet, admit it, you do enjoy our little talks.
I guess that... Ah, right, we have to meet with Jod and Tristian to resolve that. Hey Wayne, what's up? Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, let's go meet with Bartholomew. Looks like we missed a little spot here, too. Nothing.
Welcome, Your Grace. Always a pleasure to see you.
Do you know anything about the trolls who are resistant to fire?
I've never heard anything like that. If this is true, I'll have to revise my defenses.
Bartholomew suddenly goes silent, frowns, and closes his eyes.
Your Grace, I'm afraid we must intermit this conversation for now. A moment ago, a troll was caught in one of my fire traps, and it was unharmed. I suggest that a chance to explore its corpse would better equip me to answer your questions. My liege, I humbly request your protection. Please, follow me.
Lead the way.
We will be victorious! This will hurt.
Bartholomew walks around the troll's corpse. At least they're still vulnerable to steel and acid. Now, let's look into why this creature lost its respect for fire. Bartholomew recites an incantation and waves his hand over the troll's chest, then points at a specific spot on it. There, branded on the flesh, is a symbol of a blacksmith's hammer encircled by thorn-studded vines. Whatever that is, that's the reason its flesh didn't burn. Harem inspects the brand closely.
Alas, I recognize this cursed symbol. This is the hammer of Torag, a god neglectful of even his most devoted followers. I don't know why his hammer is decorated with thorns, but it suits the treacherous god well.
The wizard slowly makes an incision around the brand, and then peels the flesh off, excising the brand completely.
I must study this. Here's the key to my laboratory. Wait for me there. I'll join you soon enough.
Without another word, Bartholomew whispers an incantation and vanishes. Huh, a troll with a healing potion. That feels redundant. Ah, and that would be the door we couldn't get through last time. As I suspected, it was indeed plot-locked. Alright folks, we're just hitting the 40-minute mark, so I think this is a pretty good breaking point for the episode. I'm sure Bartholomew is going to have a lot to say to us, so best to save that for next time. We'll hit the pause button for now, but we'll pick up here next time, as we talk to Bartholomew, learn a little bit more about these trolls, and then continue on to that bandit camp we saw earlier. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder Kingmaker, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official YouTube channel, the official Discord channel, the official Facebook page, the official Twitter feed, the fan-run wikis, or the original crowdfunding campaign over on Kickstarter. Links are in the description.